Welcome to another St. Pete by Night revamped production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
In the heart of night, we rise from shadows, howling at the moon, igniting our battles, cleansing Gaia of an endless fight, until our final days we will fight. Thanks, man, we stand united as one. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Everywhere we run, the wind is at our back. All the warm forces we will track. From the depths of the ocean to the clouds in the sky, vampires tremble as we learn to fight. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Everywhere with the pack, let the night be our guide. In battles of honor, we shall never hide. Love will never hide.
Good evening and welcome to the St. Pete by Night Entertainment Network, where we play St. Petersburg by Night, a massive multiplayer 5th edition World of Darkness Chronicle set in the city of St. Petersburg, Florida. My name is Kent, also known as Kent on all social media. I am the lead storyteller of St. Pete by Night, and it's Tuesday night. And you know what that means. It's time for Rage Across Tampa, our Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition Chronicle set in the city of Tampa Bay, Florida, right across the bay from St. Petersburg, Florida, where a pack of Guru have established a sept known as the Sept of the Evening Star, a sept of the new Guru Nation, and it's called the New Guru Nation because they do things a little bit differently than what the commonly known Guru Nation does things, a little bit differently the way they do things. And if you've been watching the show, you probably have quickly picked up on as to why. And if you're new to the show, if you stick around long enough, I'm pretty sure you'll figure it out over time. But of course, if you like what you see here, you should go follow St. Pete by Night on all of that social media you see down below and in the description. And if you really like what you see here, you should come join us on our Discord community, where you could be one of the 200 plus amazing community members that make the St. Pete by Night community as incredible as it is. And let me tell you, it is pretty incredible. We have activities that are going on all week long that you could be a part of, and you don't want to miss out. You really don't. So come on over and join us. We would love to have you. Of course, I couldn't tell this story alone. It would take some pretty incredible players to make it happen. So let's go ahead and introduce those incredible players now. Players, say hello and introduce yourselves if you please.
Hi, everybody. I'm Champ, Champagne, all organic, and I will be playing Aspen Wise, Philodox of the Silverfangs.
Hey everybody, I'm Nori. I will be playing Malicious Jester, the Galliard of the Black Furies.
Hey everybody, I'm Walks, and I will be playing Lucas Shaw, Ragabash of the Shadow Lords.
Hey everybody, my name's Preston. I play Jason, Dreams Decay Thorn, Theurge of the Bonars.
We're just a bunch of shit asses trying to make a story happen here every Tuesday night. And we thank you so much for joining us this particular Tuesday night. So, players, we had a bit of a breakthrough last week for this pack of Guru who have been trying so hard to find something to combat this threat that has literally been growing from the ground. This new threat that has been emerging all throughout Tampa as you have beaten back the threat that is the leeches, that is the kindred that have dominated the area for the past century or so. But now it seems there is a new threat taking over the region, a threat from Piney Point that is controlled seemingly by Pentex, that has taken the form of these plants that have manifested new abilities that are literally infecting almost everything they touch. You have come to find out that they infect humans, obviously, to the point that they have established growths and have gained almost like a hive mind ability. And they have started to do strange and unusual things and have started to infect others at an almost rapid rate. But they've also started to infect Guru and seemingly leeches alike. And if they aren't stopped, this infection could spread to an almost pandemic-like level. And it's believed that this infection may have even gone to places as far as Michigan. But from what you've learned from the research, this infection can only spread in very damp and humid environments. In places that are very dry, it doesn't seem to work as well. This is research that was brought to you by Spud, who has been a reliable source of information as of late, but he's also seemed to be a reliable source of trouble, as you've come to find out that he has been intermingling with the other pack, the young pack that has arrived from Michigan and been under your tutelage as of late, because Spud, as his day job, being a Duskborn, is also a drug dealer and provides recreational substances to the supernatural community. And the supernatural community does include Guru. And some of those Guru do seem to be under your watch and under your tutelage, but they also like to party. Who doesn't? Am I right? So, as you have looked for breakthroughs, things to combat this ever-growing threat, you have tried almost everything you can. You've tried silver, you've tried fire, but all of these things just seem to only temporarily stall these solutions, and none of them seem to cure the infection, as Jace, one of your own pack, has been infected for some time. And while you've been able to nullify or dull the effects on a temporary basis, nothing has seemed to cure the problem as of yet. Until recently, when Jace, in a desperate attempt to find any kind of answers, lit a candle that he received from a mysterious drifter that has become a friend known as Moses that he met when he first arrived in Tampa. In lighting this candle, he took a very strange journey to a unusual and far off land that those who are viewers of the program and well versed in the world of darkness know to be the Dreaming, the land of the changelings and the Fae. In wandering the Dreaming, he met an individual known as Ravi, a guide of the Fae, who gave him an opportunity to go in two different directions where two different answers could be sought. He decided to go in one direction, a direction where he could find an answer that could only be found in the Dreaming. And in doing so, he found out that this is where the spirit of Turtle, the greater patron spirit of this long forgotten and long extinct tribe of Guru, had been dormant, had been slumbering for many, many generations. This turtle spirit that he had been looking for ever since he'd arrived in the city, ever since he'd come to this newly awakened Caern. However, didn't really answer his question in terms of infection. But when he returned As the research was progressing in conversation with Eliza, what did come to light was cold iron. And that there was seemingly a possible connection here, that there was an X factor, as Aspen, Eliza, and Jace had found when they had gone to Spud to try and find out any information. They found out that there was a missing component, that everything that they were testing was coming up empty, and that there was some unusual element missing in this concoction that was making up the fertilizer and the seeds. So Eliza decided to try cold iron on Jace, and it seemed to have an effect. It seemed to have a negative effect for Jace, as it seemed to burn his blood, but this was a positive because it was having a negative effect on the infection that was within Jace's blood. However, cold iron is very, very difficult to come by in modern times because cold iron is not a process that is commonly used anymore. It is a very, very archaic style that uses a very pure form of iron that we do not commonly use anymore. Most iron that we use these days is known as steel and is something completely different. It's a completely different methodology. It's a completely different mixture of making iron. So this poses a problem that will hopefully be discussed and dealt with later tonight. Also, Aspen confronted something that she has been avoiding some time when she went to speak to Aiden. She went to the tree to finally confront her sadness, to confront her guilt, to confront everything that she had been avoiding ever since Aiden had sacrificed himself at the battle against Bloody Mary. And so she did. When she went to the tree, when she spoke to Aiden, when she spoke to Alara, Aiden did appear. Now, Aiden couldn't speak, as the transition from living being to spirit is a long-term process and is a very trying process. He could merely appear, but that was enough, at least seemingly enough, for Aspen to say some of the things that she had been holding back, say some of the things she had been needing to say, admit some of the things she had been refusing to admit to herself. And when she finally said what she didn't want to say, that she actually missed him, a long-awaited return happened. Almost as if fate intervened, almost coincidentally. And that is where our story begins this evening, as it is the next morning from that very evening. This is where our story starts tonight. Aspen, you had a very emotional evening, needless to say. It started out very heavy for you. And yet, it turned out very differently than you'd probably expected. So as you awaken this morning, your mind kind of a haze, probably a flood of endorphins, probably fogging your thoughts. You roll over in bed to find the bed surprisingly empty, making you wonder, was it all a dream? And if it was it a very, very cruel dream? But then you hear the movement out in the kitchen. And you smell eggs and bacon cooking. Breakfast cooking. What's going through your mind this morning?
Smelling the bacon and knowing that it wasn't a dream and that there's somebody in the next room. It's refreshing. It's something that she's needed with everything that she's been going through with the ups and downs, and getting to a point where she can talk about all of the bad that's happened. She knows that there's still conversations that need to be had when it comes to Artie, but she's just happy he's around again.
Are you waiting in bed for him to come in, or are you going to go out into the living room?
She would get out of bed, put on an oversized t-shirt, walk into the kitchen to grab her favorite mug that says "World's Best Dad," and then scribbled out in Sharpie, the dad is scribbled out, and it says "Leader" underneath, really poorly written.
So as you walk out into the living room of this otherwise very small one-bedroom apartment, you find Artie is in the kitchen wearing the same ratty bathrobe that he's worn pretty much ever since you've met him, but it's very almost kind of takes you aback when you walk in because he looks so different. Where you'd expect the same sandy blonde dreadlocked hair, instead it's cut short, still a little bit shaggy, but doesn't come below his ears. And he's got a goatee and glasses. He's cooking eggs in a pan over the stove. You can actually smell the coffee brewing from a coffee pot nearby. And as you walk in, he gives you a smile from behind the stove and says, "Oh, shoot, I hoped you were going to sleep longer. It was supposed to be breakfast in bed."
I figured I could help.
Okay.
How are you?
Much better now.
You sleep okay?
For the first time in a long time, yeah. Probably the first time since I left. Well, even before that.
She'll instinctively go to the vending machine and just get a energy drink out and put it on the counter next to her mug.
How about you?
It's really nice that you're here. It's been crazy here, but I'm just happy you're here.
I found what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry I couldn't be there to help with that.
Actually, surprisingly enough, you were. In your own Aspen sort of way. I have been avoiding a lot for a very, very long time. I've been avoiding admitting to myself that I had outgrown some things. That it was time to be an adult, that I was I didn't even want to admit that I was the oldest of all of you. And then with Aiden, Well, it reminded me of my brother, obviously, and that I wasn't there for him either. And here I am playing kid again, all over again, and not taking responsibility, not being an adult, not doing the responsible thing. Not doing right by you, not doing right by Jester, not doing right by anybody. I was avoiding doing right by myself. I was hiding. And I
think
meant what I said before I left. I was hiding in you. Spider was right about that. But that was my problem, not yours. Because you're my home. I just need to remember that homes are meant to be taken care of. They're not meant to be a cave that you become a hermit in. Not a cave that you shut yourself away in and hide from the rest of the world in.
I wasn't very good at keeping the door unlocked, I guess, also. So
It was a little bit cold outside, but I needed it. I needed it to realize how long I'd been avoiding everything else. It was easy to think that everything was fine when you didn't face anything else, when you just saw the good in everything. Because when I look at you, all I can think of is good things. All I can think of is the end of the story. Our end of the story. But we have to get there, and it is going to be a difficult road to get there, and there's going to be a lot of very scary, very bad things along the way to get there. And I think losing Aiden was a reality check in that.
I think so too. I think really put it in perspective.
It did. Seems I showed up just in time, though.
Yeah, it's funny how that works out.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. And I think I learned some things too. First off, that I'm terrible about talking about hard things. But I'm getting better.
You are not terrible about talking about hard things. You're terrible about talking about your things.
Yeah.
You deal with so many hard things. You're a leader, and you do it so well. I'm really sorry that this happened.
Me too.
I will always be here for you.
I know that. And I think it took, in a weird way, you leaving for me to realize that. So
I didn't want to. You know that, right?
I know.
That being said, I'm kind of glad I did.
Yeah.
Because it made me realize some things. And if I hadn't gone and traveled and met all those crazy people and talked to all those crazy people and learned some things,
Not the same when it's not your crazy people.
it's
Absolutely.
really not. I wouldn't have been able to learn how to make this. And he fishes a small box out of his robe pocket. So, I was in Colorado for a while. They're still really mad at us. And they have every right to be. And I got my ass kicked quite a bit. But in doing so, I was able to learn a thing or two about metalwork. And in Colorado, they have mines. So, when he pops open the box, and inside is a ring. I made this for you. Now I know I've joked in the past with you, but I don't want to joke around anymore. As he kneels down on one knee. Aspen, I love you. And I don't want to be apart from you ever again. You're my future, and I want to stand beside you through every single difficult trial we have to go through. And even if we both fall again, we'll be there to pick each other up. I can't think of anything more adult than I can do. then ask you to marry me.
Yes. This is where I say yes. Yes. I wanted to let you finish. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yes. And she'll just lean over and kiss him.
He stands up and kisses you and wraps his arms around you. Oh, also, and he fishes into the other pocket for when we're out, on missions. He pulls out a little ring pop bag so you don't lose the other one.
Perfect. You may have grown up, but you're still the same Artie.
Yeah. It's really bad out there. Everyone's got shit going on. I think I understand better than ever why things are the way they are. But I think we're doing pretty good, comparatively. So anybody who says that we're not, you're doing a really good job, Aspen.
Thank you. I mean, we can just maybe, ignore the plant zombie vampire business.
Yeah, you're gonna have to fill me in on that. The messages I got definitely didn't do it justice. What in the Last of Us, Walking Dead hell is happening?
It's pretty messy here. We've got a lot to catch up on. Yep. Last of Us, monsters, drug taking baby puppies. Let's see, what else is there? Just there's a lot. Piney Point.
Why don't we have breakfast first? Then we'll figure all that out.
We can leave that for our next meeting. We don't have to talk about all that. I'm sure Jester would love to see your face when we go through everything too. So I wouldn't want to take that away from her.
I love you.
I love you.
I'm glad you're home.
Also, not that I didn't love all of this, and she kind of just like at him. You look really good.
Yeah, part of it was out of necessity. You have your hair grabbed and get thrown by it enough times, you decide you need a change. Also, I don't know. It felt right.
Looks
Glad you like it.
right.
Oh, I also graduated college. Like, for real.
Okay. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. I'm a social worker now, I guess.
That makes sense for you.
After you've, done the job for long enough, it just seemed time to make it official.
Right. Now you can charge everyone for, everything you do in the pack.
Anyway, then he blushes a little bit as he grabs some plates and starts dishing out some eggs onto them. Okay, so let's eat, and then we can figure out what's next.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad you said yes. That would have been really awkward. So as the two of you sit down for breakfast, a new start to a new life and a new chapter. What does Aspen think now?
Getting to kind of talk about everything, and for the first time, was really, really nice. Like, it's something that she has always done with Artie. Like, that's her person. That's who she talks to. So that was wonderful. And then being proposed to, you start to think about where you were and where you are, like, and the journey that everything has been. And you realize that you've been through a lot, but also like accomplished a lot. And it's a nice reprieve from everything to feel good.
All the stress, all of the difficulties, it's easy to fall into the idea that it's just going to be bad on top of bad on top of bad, never ending trials, never ending tribulations, never ending difficulties. You lose sight of what it's all for. And with Artie having been gone for so long, that future that you were fighting for may have seemed out of reach. But now, here, the reality is restored, and you're one step closer to having it again. We transition now to our next scene, where someone takes another kind of leap of faith into the unknown, doing something that they have also avoided, something that they have also not understood. As Lucas enters the cairn with different intentions. Lucas, you've heard a lot of talk about the spiritual goings-on around the cairn. You've heard a lot of talk about the trees telling stories, visions in the trees, that literally by touching the trees you can commune with them, that they are almost speaking to various members of the pack. Even the new pack have had visions because of the trees. Now, you haven't been one for all of that spiritual nonsense in the past. In fact, you've kind of grounded yourself and actively avoided it for the most part. You prefer what's tangible, what's real. But after opening yourself to thunder, after many long conversations and a lot of time spent with Eliza, maybe even after having been in this cairn for so long, in one spot for so long, curiosity has started to rear its ugly head. But it's not something that you feel you can go stumbling blindly into. You need a guide, a companion. Maybe somebody to show you the way, somebody who's been through it, somebody who's experienced it. But also maybe not somebody who's too overly into it, somebody who has a similar level of experience that can experience it with you, someone who can experience it together. Now, unfortunately, Jace has been having his fair share of problems lately. But who better than a storyteller to experience a story with? She seems to have had the most experience of all of the pack itself. She understands these things. She's interpreted these things. Jester. So as you come to the cairn, late at night from your RV that you've been staying in, as you still try to assemble shelters, as you still try to build up the cairn. What's going through your mind as you go to approach the Galliard for your meeting, preparing for this leap of faith of sorts into an unknown possibility, into something, a brand new experience?
I mean, it's true. Lucas never has been one for spirits and the unknown factor that goes along with that side. I mean, of course, he's made deals with spirits to get his gifts, and then there's the other thing that might be one of the major reasons why he tends to avoid it more these days than he has in the past. Spirits in him have a really complicated past, so he's looking to try to turn things in a different direction. Yeah.
And Jester, you received a message from Lucas saying that he wanted to meet up at the cairn tonight because he wanted to try something that only you could really help him with. So what's going through your mind as you arrive at the cairn this evening?
Did I know what he wanted to try?
You do. Yeah,
Okay.
you were prepared for this.
All right. Surprised, honestly. Out of the pack, I think it would be him or Charles who would be the least interested in connecting with the spirits, even here. But decided to help him share and hope whatever he sees will help him and whatever he needs.
So in preparation, you inquired with Eliza what would be a good tree for both of you, as she seems to be the most versed in the various trees. She actually took you to a very specific one, and it's one you've seen her at quite frequently. One that she has been found with her blanket laid out in front of. One where she assembles her figurines and she sits contemplating at quite a bit. That's the tree she selects for you. That's the tree she beckons you towards and tells you this is the spot. This is the best place for Lucas. This tree has a story to tell, a story that you both could get something out of. And she encourages you both to go on this journey together. But it's not a story that she should be a part of. It's a story you both need to experience for yourselves. And so as you meet up in the evening, under the stars up above, the scene is yours.
Lucas will turn around and look at Jester as she's walking up, and then turn back and look at the tree and kind of speak at the tree. Like, objectively speaking, this is completely silly, right? I mean, I'm just not objectively putting our hands on trees and talking to them is weird.
Depends on your definition of weird. I mean, yes, I suppose. But then we're fighting monsters, so what's normal anymore?
That is a completely valid comeback to that. Well played. Yeah.
We knew this wasn't a normal Cairn when we started. So
Yeah.
yes, none of this is normal from what we know.
And I've been working with the trees all over this place. I mean, albeit they're ones that have already fallen down, but I haven't seen shit, so you don't think it's me, do you?
Personality and attitude? No. But even Eliza said that Theurges and Galliards are more open to experiencing it. So maybe part of you closed yourself off to it.
Yeah, that's insightful, annoyingly so. Yeah.
But no, I don't think they're ignoring you because of who you are.
I would have been very insulted if they were.
I don't think they would have accepted you.
Well, at least I know they're not stupid then.
No, I don't think they're stupid at all.
Okay. What is we gotta like burn some incense or like do a dance or something? What's the procedure here?
Just touch the tree. It's not that hard. From what I've felt here, it's not as intense as what I experienced with writers. Like, you won't experience the emotions. It's kind of like watching a movie and reading a book, like a mix between the two. You're getting their stories, but you're not really experiencing their emotions. Like, you're not in their heads. Like, you'll know their thoughts and things, but you won't feel what they feel, which is much easier, trust me.
Huh. It's like a movie, but more. Okay.
Yeah, that's why it's like reading a book and a movie, because you get inner thoughts, but you get to see it too. So
Okay.
give me your hand.
Ugh. All right. He'll take her hand.
Are you ready?
Nope, but we're doing it anyway.
Okay. I'll thread my fingers with his and like put both our hands against the tree.
As you touch the tree, you feel the breeze through the branches start to pick up. You can hear the tree branches start to clatter against one another, the bark rubbing. As the breeze picks up, it starts to sting your eyes, causing tears to form, causing your eyes to blur. And everything darkens. When they open again, there's a blinding, kind of stinging light at first. The sound of nature and a crackling campfire. The smell of burning wood smoke fills your nostrils. You can hear chattering voices talking around you, at first in a language you don't understand, but eventually it becomes clear. And you can make out the words. Mostly just idle chatter. Small talk, but not about anything modern. Talking about the hunt, talking about cooking, talking about patrols, talking about the harvest. As you look down at yourselves, you find that you are adorned in hide, not cloth. And you're young. Abundantly, absurdly young, as you are much closer to the ground than you have been in a very long time. If you had to gauge your age, you're maybe 10 years old at a guess. Lucas, as you look to your left, you see a young girl about the same age, 10, with long dark braids down to her shoulders, framing her face. And Jester, as you look to your right, you see a young boy, also about 10. One braid, a singular braid, hanging down across one shoulder, also about 10. The connection the two of you feel almost immediately. You're twins. It's undeniable the bond the two of these individuals share. The sound of drums call you towards the nearby fire. The excitement that fills your chest. It's a special day. It's the day the stories are told. The day of legends. The day the elders come together and speak of the great deeds of the past. This is the day of learning. This is the day you hear of wolves, of legends. These are the things you aspire to. Maybe, just maybe, if you're lucky enough, you will be one of the few that are selected by Gaia to join these legends. Because the elders who tell these stories, especially the tale singer who is going to recount this tale, they are the guardians of your tribe. They are the legends. They are the ones who keep your people safe and have provided for them for generations. So as you run hand in hand towards the large bonfire that has been built in the center of camp, you look and you see the huts that are built around the exterior amidst the trees in your sacred and safe space. And you can see that the others have come together, some taking the shape of men, some taking the shape of wolves. This is not an unusual sight. It's a very comfortable sight. But everyone gathers together in a circle. And at the far end of the circle stands a man. This man who wears a pelt over his shoulders of a great bear. He gathers all together to speak. Gather, young ones, and let me regale you with a tale of 3 brothers and their renown. Once, long ago, there were 3 brothers that roamed this land, the eldest, the middle, and the youngest. While they held each other in the highest regard and with great love, they would fight as brothers often do. One such quarrel raged for many days and nights and left its mark upon the 3 of Gaia's children forever. As Luna's light shone full upon the face of Gaia, the 3 brothers gathered atop the highest mountain of the new-made world to pay their respects. Here they spoke of their exploits and accomplishments. The eldest spoke of the secrets he uncovered in the hidden caves beneath the river's depths. The middle brother spoke of hearing Gaia's words in the voices of her lesser creatures, from the calling of birds and soft songs of turtles, to watching the humans as they tend their herds and plant their fields. The youngest and most impulsive brother, barely willing to wait his turn, boasted that he had bested his brothers in racing the icy northern wind and stalking the great deer of the tundra. How he had battled the dark spirits and feasted on their death cries. Of course, such talk led to arguing, which in turn led to fighting. As the three fell into their warriors' forms, half man, half wolf, they battled one another with fang and claw for many days and many nights. Finally, the middle brother broke off from the fray and called an end to the conflict. He beseeched his brothers that they stop wasting their time and let the spirits decide. And so it was agreed. The three brothers would make preparations to enter the spirit world, where they would take a journey to allow the spirits to test them and decide which of them had served Gaia best. The eldest brother found a stream of cold, clear water and bathed himself in it, washing away any trace of impurity that might deter him from achieving his purpose. He thought about how sometimes he grew impatient with his middle brother's gentle ways and his young brother's rash behavior, and as he let the water flow over him, he gave his impatience to the river to carry it away. The middle brother found a valley where the earth was rich and soft, and where, if he stretched his body out along the ground and placed his ear to the earth, he could hear the steady beating of the earth's heart. He thought of his envy of the eldest brother's vast knowledge and his youngest brother's excellence in battle. With each heartbeat, the middle brother let his envy drain and sink into the ground. The youngest brother raced as swiftly as he could until he came to an icy land where a great snowstorm raged, turning the air around him white with fury. He thought about how he often grew angry at his eldest brother's superior ways and his youngest brother's insistence on reason rather than action. As the storm pelted him with its fury, and as the icy winds blew across his face, he released his anger into the storm and cast it from him. The three brothers then came together once more and journeyed into the spirit world together. Here they encountered several trials. The youngest brother rushed in headlong to face them regardless of consequence. The eldest brother always sought the cleverest solution to every problem, as he was the most shrewd among them. Middle brother, who was often the peacemaker of the three, often sought the most honorable solution. At last, the tests concluded, and the three brothers witnessed a vision of a great darkness sweeping over the land, consuming all in its path. Each brother responded as according to their nature. Little brother vowed to destroy it. Elder brother vowed to study it and learn how to defeat it. Middle brother vowed to do all in its power and sacrifice anything to stop it. Then the vision ended, and all three brothers were confronted by an aspect of Gaia, the spirit of Mother Nature herself. She praised all three brothers for their deeds, for they had all earned equal renown, but of varying kinds. Elder brother through wisdom, younger brother through glory, and middle brother through honor. Then the spirit of Gaia wept and warned little brother that he should never mistake pride for honor. She warned him that he should always be open to accepting help from others. Perhaps then he might not make the terrible choice that she feared that he might one day make. As you listen to the story, shadows cast from the fire. The shadows then crawl over the faces of all of the individuals. Every individual around the fire is covered by the encroaching shadow. As it grows, you can feel the shadow wash over you as well. The fire then grows to a raging inferno and then dies out. And as it does, you look around the fire and there is no one left. Not even yourselves. There is no sister. There is no brother. And that is where the vision ends, returning you to the cairn once more.
Lucas will stumble back, kind of blink a few times. Holy shit.
Yeah. I'll take a few steps away from the tree and sit down.
Yeah, Lucas will sit down too. Who were those people?
A lost tribe. They built this cairn, and I think they built others. They were, the whole tribe was, I guess, cairn builders. Like, they were known for it. They sacrificed themselves. The three brothers, I think, from what I understand from Eliza and Jason, the three brothers are three tribes that were originally here in the Americas, and this tribe, they sacrificed themselves to defeat a powerful worm spirit, I think, called the Eater of Souls. That's what Jace said it was, I believe, or what I know it is. But the whole tribe sacrificed themselves. And Jace has been trying to locate their patron spirit. I think he had a dream about it.
The Eater of Souls?
Yeah.
That's not ominous.
Right? A whole tribe. It took a whole tribe sacrificing themselves on top of like other two tribes fighting it to do anything.
We just moved in and started squatting here.
I
Wow.
don't think we squatted. I think they accepted us. I think if they
That's-
didn't want us, that we wouldn't have been able to
Yeah, that's fair.
awaken the Cairn.
Still though, like I feel like I don't know, I should be nicer when I'm here now. That's a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, look how much you do for the Cairn. You tend to the land. You build things.
Try to build things. This bunkhouse is pissing me off.
What's pissing you off about it?
I don't know, just but Juniper was here yesterday and she was actually a lot of help, so it's coming along better than it was. What was
Okay.
pissing me off is I was having to ask for help, but I didn't want to. All right.
You mean like in the story?
Yeah. Yeah, like in the story.
Um,
Liza.
I do it too. Not ask for help. Try to do it on my own.
The fuck is wrong with us?
I mean, trauma? If we want to be real, I grew up with barely anybody to depend on, so I had to do things by myself, and you grew up with so many expectations that you didn't want to ask for help and look weak. So,
Do you know how exhausting it is to be a Shadow Lord that has to know everything bad that's going to happen and be the ones responsible for warning everybody and telling them that it's going to go bad? I don't know what the fuck is going to go bad.
do you believe in destiny, Lucas?
I don't know, maybe. I just touched a tree and saw some stuff, so, the board is pretty much wide open at this point.
The first one I touched, it was a theurge. She knew what was going to happen to them. They still had a choice. They could have chosen not to sacrifice themselves and let the Eater of Souls go free. But, we're Garu. It's not what we do, is it?
No. No, we're pretty stuck in that doing dumb shit to save everybody job.
Yeah. I guess if you think about it, none of us has have much choice in anything. I don't know. I'm just it's kind of hard to wrap my mind around lately.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I thought maybe not destiny, but purpose. Maybe I can relate it to that. That if I had a purpose that I was built for, that I was trained for, that I was sent for, and I don't know. Maybe that was somebody else's purpose. And maybe I don't really like being told what to
You're
do.
supposed you're supposed to do.
Yeah, because people did it to me for so long and had designs for me that they never told me about and all that other shit. And maybe, I don't know, maybe that's what it is. And maybe I did it to Hashka too. I wanted him to be something that he wasn't, I guess. I don't know. Tried to save something that didn't want to be saved. Just projecting or something. I don't know.
I think we all project things we want to see in people onto them.
Yeah.
It's up to them to choose, I think, how they want to be, whether or not they want to accept those or not.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about that lately, that if they're gone or dead or whatever, I did what I could. They gotta figure it out on their own now.
You tried.
If Aspen was sitting here right now, she'd tell us all the things that we should be thankful for instead of all the stuff we're pissed off about right now, right?
I don't think so. I think she's changed a bit.
Yeah, she's getting better. That's good.
Yeah. There'll probably still be some bad days, but we're all healing.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be involved in one or two of those at some point. Maybe you. The other pack for sure.
Yeah. They just have such a way of just hitting those just points that they just piss you the fuck off.
Yeah. Yeah. But, I mean, don't we?
I don't think we were ever that bad.
Oh, we never think we're that bad.
Did you challenge any of your leaders, like, and break the litany about 3 times in one meeting?
I mean, no, but from a certain point of view, yes. I mean, you know the story, so how I got kicked out
Yeah,
of my first Cairn. So, I mean, there's that.
true.
That was very aggressive, and that was a good talk with stakes. But regardless, yeah, maybe.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know the specifics of it, but I mean, I heard you and Aspen had some moments too.
Yeah, in private,
Yeah,
just the 2 of us.
I don't need to know that shit. That's for you two.
I mean, I know I fucked up back then.
I kept too many secrets for too long. That didn't help me out.
It didn't, but you didn't know us either.
It's true. There was some major third wheel action going on there for a while, but I mean, you and Aiden and Aspen, you guys didn't make it easy for me to stay grumpy for very long.
Hmm.
So,
Good.
yeah.
I figure if we just try not to repeat our mistakes, we're doing better than we were yesterday.
It's a good way of looking at it. Different fuck ups, not the same fuck ups. Easier to understand.
Yeah. You hungry?
Very, as a matter of fact.
Want to go grab some food?
Yes. Yes, let's go.
All right, great. Let's go.
As the 2 of you leave, heading off to find some nourishment, the thought replays in your mind. Don't mistake pride for honor. Yes, an entire tribe sacrificed themselves to banish the Eater of Souls. But was that just prophecy fulfilling itself? Was that honor, or was that pride? If history had been written differently, if Middle Brother had taken the assistance of elder brother and younger brother, would they still be here to tell the tale? The world will never know. Speaking of the unknown, we now go to our final scene of the first act, where with questions, many questions running wild in his mind, Jason, Dreams in Decay Thorn, approaches the strange wandering drifter known as Moses, who had given him the candle that took him on probably the most unusual adventure to date, as he has invited him to his bar, the Split Helm, near the docks, for a conversation. Jason, you have had a very unusual month. A very trying month, to say the very least. From being infected by these spores to the unusual dreams and nightmares that are unlike anything you've ever experienced. And you have some very dark dreams on the regular. But now, these dreams you've had of late, these fantastical experiences, from peaceful dreams to going to a place literally known as the Dreaming, and encountering fae, walking deserts, encountering sea serpents and unicorns and pegasi, to being cut off from the spirits for your own protection. What's going through your mind through all these experiences as you prepare, awaiting Moses' arrival? Charles, nearby, in the car, expecting and awaiting anything and everything to happen.
Jace is standing there at his bar, was cleaning but not tapping his finger, thinking about how he's even going to broach this subject. How do you confront someone that you've never really encountered of that like? It was different with the guru, because there were several of them and he was being brought in. This is something he hadn't even heard of, something brand new. And the idea of Moses was he aware of Jason coming? Was this something that was already pre-planned? Did Rat know about this? Rat had told him that there were spirits that needed help here and that he was going to be a huge part of that. Is there secrets that are being kept from Jason now that he wishes he knew more about? Because maybe that would have changed how he had gone about this month. And it's constantly trying to stay calm because he doesn't want to lose control again.
There's nothing more intriguing and yet at the same time maddening to a bone gnawer than being kept in the dark. You want to dig out all of those little secrets, but also they keep you on edge because you hate not knowing. And you are the furthest thing from knowing at the moment. So sitting at the bar, fingers tapping on the wooden plank surface, there's a rapping knock at the locked door, but it's the sound of wood on wood.
He'll stop tapping his finger, take a deep breath, and then a sigh, walk over to the door and open it.
So you open the door, you're greeted by the friendly, smiling, creased face of Moses, his well-manicured gray beard framing his face, holding his trusty staff etched with carvings all up and down the length of it, He wears a nice poncho around his shoulders, draped over down to his knees. His trusty sandals on his feet. These loose-fitting linen pants to keep him cool in the hot Florida temperatures, but to cover his skin from the blazing sun. Hello there, Jason.
Hey, please, come in. Don't you stand at the door?
Not obliged, thank you, Dan.
As he comes in, he'll close the door and give it a quick shake, make sure it locks.
Giving it a nice rattle. You hear the lock settle into place as Moses, eyes looking around, wanders his way in, settling in the center of the room to take in all of the surroundings, giving a kind of light spin around. It's all coming nicely along there.
Yeah, it's taken a little bit longer. He'll point to the big helm that had cracked in the middle. That took forever to actually ship here, and then breaking it was the fun part, but that took a couple weeks to actually get it shipped here.
Well, it's a nice centerpiece. Draws the eye.
But yeah, split helm. I figured I needed a split, helm.
Very fine, mighty fine.
Can I get you anything to drink? I'm working on getting a grill in here so I can get some food. One of the people told me that some of the people here are mad because now they can't eat and drink, so I can whip you up something small, but...
Just some water for me there.
Okay, yeah. He'll make his way over to the bar and he'll tap the bar with a couple of stools. Like, yep, take a seat. I'll be right back. He'll head into the back real quick and grab water.
Grabbing some water out of the back. Do you grab a bottled water or a tap water?
I get him a bottled water.
Okay. So grab bottled water. You return to the front, and Moses has positioned himself on top of one of the stools at the bar. His staff is leaned up against the bar right next to him, and it seems to be positioned perfectly against the bar top, unmoving, unrolling. So what do you want to talk about then there?
But, just more, I haven't talked in a bit, and you mentioned the bar a couple times, so I figured I'd give you a private showing.
Oh, that's mighty kind of you. Very polite, very nice kind. Well, it is very nice. I think it'll do quite well here. Although, you haven't been around. You feeling all right?
Been kind of under the weather a little bit. Congestion, allergies, if I had to take a guess. But he'll, like, tap his finger a few times. Moses, that candle you gave me. I kind of lit the way.
Did it then?
Yeah, helpful, insightful, even. Sarah.
Kind of furrows his brow. Well, I'm glad to hear it. It's good to have a light in the dark to clear up the clouds. Help you see clearly.
Where'd you say you got that candle?
Oh. They had a whole bunch of them over at the ministries. Gathered them all together.
When I lit it, things smoked like crazy. Like, filled an entire room.
Well, that's unusual, don't you think?
Yeah, it was really weird.
I'm sorry about that, Dan. Hopefully it didn't cause no damage.
No, it also went out really, really fast. Like, I lit it, and then short duration, it was gone.
That's mighty unusual, then.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Most candles last a bit, but this was out very, very quickly.
I'll have to check on that.
Yeah, meeting the people that you got him from would be nice too.
Well, sure then. It's Tampa Ministries over on the east side. Nice bunch of folk, although I would just approach with caution.
Yeah.
They very friendly bunch, but they like to know who they're dealing with. They see a lot of people come through.
No, that's fair. You said that you've traveled a lot. Like in Tampa is kind of a place you landed in. Did you cross like you ever been across like heavy deserts and jungles and things like that?
Oh, I've been many places, seen many things,
Yeah.
walked
Have you
many
been to any-
paths.
you don't leave the path though, because that can go awry really quickly.
I consider myself a trailblazer, Jason.
Been to many castles in your travels at all? Like seen them or anything?
What, like in Europe?
Well, I don't know. I guess castle's kind of an overall generic term, like big stone structures. Like South America's got some things like that.
But there are many
Europe
places that have
doesn't
castles. Over there on the East Coast, they got some places that are like castles that the Spanish built. Over here in Florida, not quite castles, more like fortresses, but
Castle, fortress, to keep people protected or keep people out, kind of thing.
yeah, I've done some backpacking in Europe, seen some castles.
Moses, how much longer are we gonna keep talking in circles? Without bringing up the little handshake we had last time. Silence. Unearring silence that occurred.
When you're used to something for so long, it's hard to know anything else, ain't it?
True.
Sometimes you need something to shake you up, to see things a different way.
Well, I got I think this place in general has shook me up pretty good.
Maybe you needed to leave the path that you were on.
And the new path I've found has created more questions than anything.
Questions ain't always a bad thing.
No, especially in my line of work, questions are fantastic. I usually enjoy questions. Being left in the dark about certain things that affect me and my friends are a different story, though.
I never like rules, Jace. But everybody has rules they must follow. You get me?
Yep, I get that better than most.
I will say this though. Beware the eye. For the eye is always watching.
I swear, if there's another Tolkien reference, I'm gonna lose it.
It's something like that, but it's much, much, much worse. Unfortunately, there are no rings to help you here. No, this is a very different folklore. You ever
Lotus, are
heard of
you
something
aware?
called the stink eye?
Yeah, I used to get it from my foster parents all the time.
Hmm. That term don't just come from nowhere. It's got a very, very real root. It is based in something. You follow that route, go down that rabbit hole. Maybe you'll find yourself staring in the evil eye. And maybe you'll see the root of all your problems. The real seed.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm a trailblazer. I've walked many paths. My path started far to the east.
What's going on here? Is this something that's common over there?
What's going on here shouldn't be going on here.
Agreed.
Maybe that's probably why I'm here. Maybe it's not. But it's
Hard to
very, very
say.
fortunate that I am. Beware
I
the
have
eye, Jace.
Okay. I have so many questions. I can't ask them outright because of my rules. I do want to keep you safe though. So if need be, I can keep our conversations between us.
I have watched puppets dance on strings. I have watched the play. I have seen behind the curtain, the veil, the mask. I know the rules. I saw them writ. There's very little you could tell me that would leave me surprised. I have walked many places and seen many things. I have sown many seeds of my own. While there are those that answer to us, we answer to others.
Do you answer to she or the more of the he that you kind of that you follow?
I do not answer to she.
All right. She is very confusing.
Oh. She is. But she is and isn't your concern. Lest you dream once more, which I feel you shall.
Yeah, got unfinished business.
Indeed. That which is forgotten.
It's stuck.
It does not belong.
No. If I wanted to dream again, is there a way that can make that happen?
Not in your current state. You are afflicted.
So once that's taken care of, then we can revisit that conversation.
Yes. Well, no. I forget myself. It is your affliction which allows the dreaming.
Of course it is.
The removal of it will cease the dream. That is your connection. But also, the longer it lingers, the more at risk you are.
Rock in a hard place.
It is not something you are meant to have.
It's not like I took it willingly.
Oh no. It was forced upon you. This I know.
So keep this to fulfill the other goals, but the longer I keep this, the worse I get. Sweet. All right.
Do not forget what I said. I am a trailblazer, Jace. Just because the path before you is set does not mean new paths cannot be formed.
I'll keep it in mind. And then I'll try not to gaze directly at the eye, but I'll see where the route leads to.
Study. Track my path back east. There you will find the eye.
Okay. I'll start there. And Moses, you were one of the first people I met here. I don't believe in things being laid out. But you said you might have been here for a reason. I think you're here for me. And thank you for that.
It's my pleasure. I have long awaited a purpose. I have not had one in some time.
Well, I'm
Now I
happy
have
to
one
provide.
again. It is a curiosity, a bit of fun. Though
I'm
it may
glad
not
you're
seem
having
it.
fun. Yeah, and you're fun on your end. Constant, testing on mine.
I think you will look back on it one day and see it for the fun it was.
That might be a bit, but maybe.
That is how time works.
Down the road, there's someone who understands this way better than I do. If I were to set up a meeting, would you be all right with talking to them?
Down the road, Jace, that person is you. Older and wiser.
Yeah, but it's not me in the current. Current me is still learning and stuck with the affliction. Being the outside looking in is difficult when you're the subject.
I always enjoy meeting new people. The question is, do they always enjoy meeting me?
I feel like most of the people you run into seem pretty happy. Most of them. A few of them are just dickheads to begin with, so I don't really count those ones.
Not everybody looks the same way. Some people see things differently.
I try to see people how they are. At least I do my best.
That's why we get along.
Yeah, us guys on the low end of the totem pole gotta stick together.
Don't often get viewed that way, but I appreciate it.
I don't know where you stand on your totem pole, so
I'm not worried about that.
okay. I like I said, I have so many questions. I do have to get the bar open before people start pounding down the door, though. I just wanted to get this out in the open, just so we could be somewhat more transparent about some things that we're allowed to be.
Of course. Like I said, I've been many places, seen many things. Jason, I understand rules. I don't care for them too much. But I understand sticking to the path so that you do not wander into the fog.
I don't want to forget things.
No, you do not. Lest you forget yourself.
Words I heard recently.
My children learned very well.
As a father should teach them.
Indeed.
Can I get you anything else for the road?
No, this water will do just fine.
Do you want another one? It's hot.
No, this will work just fine.
Okay. He'll walk around the side of the bar, give him a pat on the shoulder.
You take care of yourself now. Time's a ticking.
Yeah. Faster than normal. He'll walk him to the door.
As Moses reaches the door, he looks back to give you a smile, and then he steps out through the door. As he does so, and you turn back, the staff is left by the bar.
Go over and can I do a quick look at it again?
Mm-hmm.
Intelligence in occult or wits in occult?
Let's do wits and occult.
Okay. Still rage 1?
Yeah.
Four.
Okay. As you're studying the staff up close, unobscured, there are a great many markings and sigils drawn upon the staff. They're very, very hard to make out, hard to understand. But one of the markings that comes through clearer than any other is a marking of warding.
Not wanting to touch it directly, gonna go grab a sheet or towel or something and try to wrap it up and take it into the back and put a note on it for Jester to not touch it, and I'll take care of it later.
Okay. So you wrap up the staff, carry it into the back, placing it in the back. What's going through your mind after this conversation with Moses? A lot of information was shared, but not all of it straightforward, and a lot of it even more confusing than before. But that's Moses' style.
In a way, he got confirmation about Moses knowing about things on Jace's side. Him bringing up Veil and the mask, the whole puppet show, was eye-opening. But as always, Moses leaves Jason with a bunch more questions and riddles that he has to try and decipher, like tracing his steps back to the east. How is he going to start that? Where could it possibly end up? What's he going to find? Is he going to find the eye there? Is he going to find the root? What does the root signify? He brought up seeds a lot. He seems aware of the current standing that us here, the Guru, are trying to combat. But it looks like he can't get involved directly. So he's leaving breadcrumbs almost to try and guide Jace further. But in Moses fashion, these breadcrumbs aren't always pieces of bread. Sometimes they're cheese or they're pebbles that have weird markings on them, and he's got to try and figure it out. So he sits at the bar for a while before Charles will take him back, trying to unscramble the rat's nest that Moses had created in Jason's brain.
Some confirmation, some more confusion. That is what it is to deal with Fae. We'll be back in just a few minutes with the second half of tonight's story. See you shortly. Welcome back. In the first half, we saw Aspen and Artie catch up and start the next chapter of their life together. We saw Jester and Lucas have a vision from one of the trees of a very, very important story of Guru history and possibly an important message that both of them needed to hear, a lesson of what it is to be Guru. And then Jason had a conversation with Moses where he learned a little bit more about the strange drifter and was left a parting gift of sorts. But what that gift entails and what it means is a new mystery of its own to be uncovered. Now, in the second half, the pack gathers once more at the cairn, but with an additional guest in tow, or should I say, a returning member of the pack. The scene is yours.
Aspen will stand at the table while everybody gathers.
Jester will, when she sees Artie, will give a loud squeal and run and give him a big hug.
Look at this guy. Look at him.
Artie will laugh and smile and give Jester a huge hug. Hi, Jess.
Look at you. See, you're matching your inner nerd now.
He rolls his eyes, but is still smiling. Yes. Yes.
Looks good on you.
Thanks. You look good too. You look
Thanks.
relaxed.
It comes
Properly
and goes.
plowed.
You could say that.
He then looks over to Charles and gives a cheesy grin, and Charles just deadpans him. He then looks to Lucas and smiles. Thank you for the offer, by the way. That was far too kind and totally not my style.
Hey, I'm just trying to pay the right respects, man. But
Appreciate it.
glad you're back.
It's good to be back. And I see we have a new friend.
Yes, this is Jason. Jason, this is Artie.
Heard a lot about you.
All terrible things, I'm sure.
No, everyone here loves you a lot.
Well, that's good.
Well, except for he'll point over towards Charles. He had a couple bad things, but
Well, yeah, that comes with the suit, actually. Yeah.
same. That's what I said.
Right? Well, I don't want to take away from everything that's going on. I know things have been really, really crazy around here. I'm sorry that I've been gone, but I'm here to help in any way that I can. I have news from up north, but I will tell you that I will bring that to the table when it's time for that. But please, let's not hold back on my account.
Well, first off, how is everybody doing?
It's a loaded question.
Every time.
Yep, pretty loaded.
Still fair to ask, isn't it?
Yeah.
Somebody does at least.
So we have a lot to talk about. First off, the creepy zombie plant monsters. Eliza, Jason, and I went to Spuds to talk to him about any possible information that he could get. I'll go ahead and let Jason speak on that.
So Spud, interesting guy, by the way. He let me hold one of the seeds, and kind of like what I was able to do with that that leaf that we got. Able to trace it back a little bit. Goes back to same lab that I saw last time, but the seed there. So when we step into the other side, that feeling that we get, they're doing something similar with the seeds, but it's an unwillingness that they're pulling from that side and putting it into the seed. There's this part of it and that's why it's so hard for us to try and take care of and try and get rid of it, because it's coming not just from here. They're combining it with other things, which Eliza and I are still trying to wrap our heads around on how that is able to happen, because Banes, and what this is essentially, Banes can attach to people, and yeah, they can attach to things, but this is different how this is being done. Like, this is almost being forced to happen. And I'll be transparent. When that happened, thank you, Aspen and Eliza, for stepping in. My affliction that's going on happened, but worse than what happened at the house. I got really upset that the seed was taken from me, and I lashed out at Aspen and Eliza. I don't remember if I lashed out at Spud at all. I think he kind of went and cowered in the corner. So I gotta be careful anytime. Like, I want to help, but at this point, the three of us talked, and I shouldn't be doing any form of gift or anything, especially outside the Caern.
At this point, Eliza pipes up and says, "First off, Arthur, welcome back. It's wonderful to see you, and you are looking marvelous, of course, and you're much welcome here. It's your assistance will be very, very helpful. Secondly, I have looked upon this, and similar to how a Fomori is created, it is like a possession of sorts, but it's different, because a possession is usually handled similar to a banishment, simply forcing the spirit out, forcing the bane out is usually just enough to take care of the problem. The problem is the bane has manifested itself in a physical form, being created into the plant. So the plant, the infection itself, is holding the bane in place. The infection is actually taking a physical nature. So spiritual banishment isn't enough, because the bane is contained within the physical matter of the plant. It is almost like a cross genetic hybrid of sorts, which is unlike anything I've ever seen and didn't even believe was remotely possible. Now, when a Fomori is created, it is because a bane has completely corrupted the individual it has possessed and turned it into something completely different. It has destroyed any sense of humanity within the individual and has given them over to their base urges, whether it is for violence or otherwise. Whatever is left of that person is gone. They have completely turned over to whatever that terrible thing is. This, however, is different. It is eating them away from the inside and replacing them. It is infecting them, quite literally. It is, well, it's killing them, plain and simple. It is growing within them. So, the usual methods won't work. Spiritual exorcism won't work. I've tried it with Jace. It doesn't work. Now, blocking him off seems to stall the effects, but only temporarily. And I believe most of that has to do with the Caern itself. I believe the protective forces of the Caern are helping slow the progression. And his own regenerative capabilities are definitely helping with that. It's fighting the infection as it would any other disease. But it can only do so much. It continues to grow, albeit slowly. And that doesn't help humans. They don't have that capability. And now hearing that it could be infecting leeches as well, who have a similar regenerative capability, tells me that it's a problem no matter what. The supernatural nature. So, something has to be done. Now, from what we learned, and forgive me, Jason, for stepping in the breakdown of the science of it all, there was an X factor, something that couldn't be determined in the science of it. They were able to break down, this Spud was able to break down the chemical compounds of the seeds and the fertilizer. But there was something else, another component within the seeds and the fertilizer, and the plants themselves. Something that couldn't be destroyed by any other methodology. Something that grew regardless of herbicides, pesticides, anything else. There were theories as to what it could be, and it led us to two possibilities. Well, primarily one at first. And that possibility was a soul-forged material. Something that comes from the Shadowlands. Something that does take a physical form and could be harvested, but it would take a specific technology of sorts, a certain method that humans, or most supernaturals, don't know and would not have access to. Only beings of the Shadowlands, only beings of that particular plane of existence, that particular realm of the Umbra, would know. And they would not give freely. In fact, they would be very, very unhappy to learn anyone had. I found that to be highly unlikely, but I was not willing to rule it out as a possibility. Since we have pretty much come to a conclusion that this is a Pentex organization that is responsible for this, they are well connected. Very well connected in all realms of the supernatural. So I would not put it past them to have a connection within the Shadowlands or have made some sort of deal. And if they are harvesting the plasma of spirits or the technology to harvest some sort of manifestation of Banes into a physical form, to crossbreed them or manifest them into plants, that's a problem. But then, Jace had an experience, and I will, of course, pass it back over to you, Jace.
So, in a sense, I had a dream in a way where I was given almost insight to different things. Just remember that turtle I told you about?
Yeah.
Well, in this dream, I found it. It's surrounded by some fog it can't get out of. I don't think I've told everyone here about this turtle, actually. Liza, have you given anybody updates on the turtle?
No, I've actually been holding back on giving the full detail on that since it was your discovery. I wanted you to be able to look more into that and relay that.
Okay. Well, now's a good time as any. So there's this patron that's been lost for a really long time, known as the Turtle. It was one of 3 brothers that took on this giant devourer. It ate worlds, ate souls. Turtle went and sacrificed themselves to stop this thing. In doing so, it looks like it got pushed to a different area of existence that it doesn't belong. And in turn, became forgotten about until recently. It started waking up, small little stirs, little movements. And it seems to have occurred when this place got woken up.
To just add to that, it wasn't just the spirit, the turtle spirit, it was the entire tribe sacrificed themselves. They're the ones that built the cairn.
So in that, finding what's lost and bringing it back is one of the things I like doing. It's one of the purposes I have. But it's very stuck, and trying to get it out can be very difficult. When I awoke from that and I gave Eliza some of the insight, she first said it was all the drugs and stuff that I was taking that was giving me these strange hallucinations and everything, which is valid. But this felt very different than all the other things that she'd done. Yes, I've taken way more drugs in the past month than I've taken in my entire life. Thank you for that. And chewed on more roots. So, but we had, not we, she had a breakthrough in a sense where iron, cold iron. Mama Ross kindly cut me. And then exposed my blood to this cold iron, and it had a reaction to it. So looking into that, cold iron seems to be that X factor we were looking at.
Now, this doesn't entirely rule out the possibility of wraiths in the Shadowlands. They also have a negative reaction to cold iron, or at least so the methodology or the readings say. That's why you see a lot of wrought iron fences around cemeteries. It's to keep the spirits in. But from the experience that Jace had described, he went to a place that is believed to be the land of the Fae. Now, this is why I immediately assumed a drug trip from the descriptions he had given me. I had believed it to be a myth, but also many would believe us to be a myth. So keeping your minds open is a very important part of all of this. If it is true, there is a belief that Fae interact with our very world. Some of the inexplicable things that happen, plus with the involvement of plants and nature, lends me to believe more towards the involvement of Fae than the involvement of ghosts and wraiths. The fact that this has less to do with the worm and more to do with the wild lends me to believe the involvement of Fae and less wraiths. If that's the case, one way or another, cold iron causes a reaction. And if that's the case, cold iron could be the X factor that Spud was looking for. The solution to whatever the missing component was, the scientific thing he could not discover within the chemical makeup of the fertilizer, of the seeds, of the fungus. If that's the case, cold iron is the solution. Now, cold iron is also very rare. It is an old technology. Lucas, I'm sure you can speak more on this, as you are the metallurgist of sorts in our midst. As we learned from your magnificent, she gestures towards the clave hanging on the tree, work.
Yeah, pure cast iron. Yeah, nobody uses that anymore. But I have an idea. Gonna need to go antique shopping because this is Florida. There's a lot of old people here who have estate sales, and nothing is more prestigious than a cast iron pan. So I bet if we start wandering around the antique shops, I could probably gather up a supply of old cast iron cookware. And based on the fact that it is mostly cast iron, it should render down to a usable form at a low temperature. I could just go back to the same place that I rented out before. It's going to take some time, but we could get there.
It would be some trial and error for sure, because even slight imperfections could be enough to render it useless. Unfortunately, this is a very precise art. Now, I did happen to have a small sample of pure cold iron. Doing what I do, I gather unusual components all the time for my work. And I just happened to think, who knows, maybe this is useful. And on the off chance, it ended up being useful in this case. Now, I do have enough to potentially help one person. But we find ourselves in a conundrum because we have two individuals that need it.
It's an easy decision.
Is it though?
Yep.
I told you, I do have another possibility for you. But it is dangerous and painful.
Yeah, but she wouldn't survive that one.
No.
So it's an easy solution. You have one that she could make it through, and you have one that she absolutely wouldn't.
That is fair.
So use it on her.
All right. This would be the only supply we currently have until we could gather more.
That's fine.
I'll find more.
Just help your friend.
We'll find more.
Jason, we absolutely want you to be better, and we're gonna get that done. But I think at this point it would be much better to help Lucas's friend, seeing as how she doesn't have the regenerative capabilities that you do, and she has the potential of going really, really bad really quickly.
My thoughts too.
At this point, Artie actually pipes up. Actually, this is something that I can possibly pitch in on, funny enough. While I was out traveling, I was up in the mountains out west, visiting Colorado and Washington and a variety of other cairns in the Pacific Northwest. There are mines still operating out there, and they do operate in iron ore, pure iron ore still. There are few and far between, It is still a very old art, but they do still operate. Now, getting to them is difficult. Most of the cairns out there were trying to shut those places down. They were trying to do away with those places. So convincing them to try and make use of those places is going to be difficult. But if it means dealing with another threat, maybe they can suggest some solutions. It's a possibility, but there are places, even as close as Tennessee, that have mines that we could access that could possibly be sources for it. The only other thing we're going to run into is making it, but if Lucas can handle that, it's possible. I mean, we could just get him the ore, he could handle it. But they'd want something in return, obviously.
Absolutely. I think we can start talks, see what we can figure out. If that's another option, we'll do the antiquing as well, to see what we can get from that. But I think conversations with other cairns, other seps, to try and figure this out might be beneficial, seeing as how it could be potentially a worldwide thing if we don't take care of it soon.
If we can't convince them,
I think it's an opportunity to have conversations.
Well, I can tell you that we have inroads in Washington. Washington is on our side. Colorado is tenuous at best. I do have, and he looks to Jester, I have established contact, and there is progress being slowly made there, but it is very snail's pace, and they will not be doing us any favors, but we are talking. So I wouldn't go asking them for anything right now. But Washington, obviously Duncan is on our side. We're good there. He will help us, and there's no problems there. So we've got someone in Washington. I went to Oregon. Matthias's predecessor is, or his protege has taken over leadership and is willing to work with us. That's not a problem. We've got inroads out there, so there are possibilities still. So I wouldn't expect them to outright reject us, but they'll probably need some help. I mean, from what I saw out there, everybody's struggling in their own ways. Numbers are a lot lower than I thought they'd be from previous visits to moots and stuff. We're falling behind. Not a lot of new Guru being made these days, it seems.
Aspen, Anna might be a good resource to tap for this too.
Okay. I'll have a conversation with her and potentially call Duncan and see what we can figure out together there. Well, good. Okay, but how do we take what we have and help Lucas's friend?
Well, I think that I can, with Spud's aid, create a transfusion of sorts, an injection, almost like an intravenous fluid. We melt down the cold iron into a very, very, very thin material. We run it through the bloodstream. It does not stay in the bloodstream. We will drain it out before it has time to cool and harden. That would be problematic. Obviously, nobody needs iron in their blood of that caliber. But it would basically be like taking iron supplements of a different nature, and then we would siphon it through their blood enough to burn out any of the fungal remnants, and then we would siphon it through. Hopefully the blood would burn at a high enough temperature to keep it melted. One of the things that I've learned from keeping eyes on Jace is that temperatures are raised. They are at an almost feverish temperature most of the time. So, hopefully that'll keep the iron warm enough that it'll move through the blood, and then we will strain it out. But the iron will be useless after that. That is why it's a one and done situation. Now that'll work for infected. In the situation of the plants, I believe that one, cold iron weapons would work just fine, or tools to dig them out. Or perhaps making a smoke of the cold iron could be enough to work and dissolve them.
With something airborne, don't we have to worry about other people breathing it in, though?
There is a risk of that, yes. It would be hard to do over a wide area unless we diluted it enough.
Right.
I think that's something we should work on as far as saying if there's a way to dilute it enough so it doesn't harm others. And if that's not the case, then we can find ways to start making sure that people know that there's a plant that doesn't belong and that environmentally we need to eradicate it so it doesn't take over other plants. And with that out in the open, I think the city doing something about it wouldn't be too crazy for people to keep away of as we get rid of them.
Now, if it comes down to it, as much as I hate to say it, it could be a lesser of two evils situation. It could be that while it could be harmful, it would be no harmful than most pollutants, and it would be temporary, and it would be far less harmful than if this got out and spread into a pandemic. So it's a matter of choosing between a temporary pollutant or a harmful pandemic.
Necessary evil.
It could be. If it comes down to it, of course I will research other solutions, but we are in a time crunch. We have seen how quickly this thing spreads, and if it has in fact traveled already, as we are hearing from possibilities of it already being in Michigan, we may not have the time to wait.
We'll all get on it. We'll get it done as quickly as possible. To this point, though, another thing that I want to talk about, you've touched on, Eliza, a little bit of how we could help Jason. Jason, is that something you want, or do you want to wait to try with the iron?
Man. It's the decision needs to be made. Right now, we need to hold off. I've been told recently by a spirit and a sort that the only way to help this lost patron is for me to keep this ailment. I was brought here to help spirits, to help you all get on better terms with them. What better way than bringing back something that was lost from here? Unfortunately, the only way for me to do that is to keep the thing inside me.
Well, I think that's admirable. We don't need you. Sorry to say, we don't need you weak and in a position where you can't help, especially with all of this coming to a head.
I understand that and know that it makes perfect sense. in order for me to help further and get more information, this that's inside me is the key in order to make that happen. As of right now, if something changes, I'll let you guys know. But I can't just let Turtle be there. It's not where they belong. They've been lost for too long. And that could be why things are so off balance here.
Place protects us. It welcomed us here. And Jace, I understand where you're coming from. Believe me, probably more so than some people here. So if we have an opportunity, Aspen, to do something, then I think we trust what Jason's saying.
Okay, then how long do we wait?
I wish I had the answers. I do.
We need a when we pull the plug. We need one because then you guys are going to have this conversation with me over and over, and I'm going to be against it, and you guys are going to push it, and I need to know what the answer is.
Until we have another cure.
So until we have
That's
the
how long
iron.
you have. Yes.
I think that's fair, Jason. I think it's fair. It's a compromise.
Or if you become too compromised.
That one I can agree with.
That's obvious, though. We want you out before that, ideally. But we also need to give this patron a fighting chance. And you're our only way to give him that fighting chance. So
I'll agree too. Once we come up with another one, another cure. If I haven't figured it out by then we'll get this thing out and we'll have to figure out something else.
Okay.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any other business?
Yeah. He'll run back to his RV real quick, be bringing out a towel and lay it down. Someone left this at my bar, and I'm needing some help making out some of the images on it. Now, I know one of them is warding, that's why it's wrapped. He'll unwrap the staff. This.
As he unrolls the staff, it is a ornate, knotted wooden staff with many, many sigils drawn up and down the length of it. They are varying in form and shape. Some of them look like they tell a story. Many of them are completely undecipherable, but anybody who wants to can make an intelligence and occult roll.
I'll assist anyone who wants to do that.
Anyone even wants to attempt?
3.
3. Okay. So, similar to Jace, you are able to make out one of the glyphs seems to be a warding glyph of some sort. Now, what it wards against, you're not entirely sure. But it does have an aspect of shielding against something.
The overall origins of this, I'd like to keep private, just for the protection of the person who left it behind until I know more.
Eliza studies the staff, as does Artie, who leans in with curious intention. He then kind of reaches into his pocket and pulls out his cell phone and then looks to you. Can I take a few pictures?
I don't see why not.
He then starts photographing some of the images on the staff. Eliza looks over the staff a few times and then gently touches it and rolls it over. Well, I can't tell you what it does, but I can tell you this is there are individuals in this world capable of fantastical things, unexpected things. I'm sure this doesn't surprise you after everything you've heard. I told you that that we're not the only ones capable of entering the Umbra in the past.
Yep.
Based off of the designs on this staff, whoever created it is one of those individuals. Likely a gifted human. There are a few of them in the world that have tapped into magical capabilities. I have seen symbols like this before, mostly on very unusual places like Stonehenge. I don't know what they do.
Okay. Safe to touch. I saw you roll it, but
You would have to know how to use them for it to be of any use. Now, some of them are likely always active, like this one, and she points to the warding symbol that both of you had identified. That is a protection of some sort. It is shielding. In fact, it's shielding from scrying. It prevents anyone from being able to find the individual who's holding this staff.
okay.
So whoever was carrying this didn't want to be found. Or at least didn't want to be found by somebody.
But now you have it, so
Uh-huh. I hate this guy. Eliza, do you think if I held this going out of the Cairn, that it would prevent those who are also infected from seeing me?
I don't know. I think that it is possible, but I cannot guarantee it. I have never worked with magic of this type before. It takes a certain kind to be able to wield it. In fact, you're the first to tell me and confirm for me that Fae are real. So, this is all news to me.
If I were to, I brought this up earlier. They've agreed to meet with you, Eliza. Now, I will leave it up.
This is your secret source.
Yes. I'll leave it up to the pack, though, because I don't want to put Eliza. I don't have any inkling that this person would cause any harm. They've been more than helpful and kind since I've been here in Tampa. But I'll leave it up to the pack. If you guys don't want this to happen, then it doesn't have to. I just think they're two people who can help each other.
I think if you think it's safe, Jason, then I don't see a problem, but Charles will be nearby.
I would have it no other way. I always feel a little bit safer. Feel like I can talk all the shit I want with suit behind me.
But I also would be very, very careful carrying it around until you have more information about it.
I figured here would be one of the best places to keep it just because of the way that it keeps things out. And I think if the Caern didn't want me to have it here, it would have stopped it at the bond. So, Eliza, do you want to meet the magic man?
I always find new and interesting individuals enlightening, and, well, they do seem curious, to say the very least.
I'll try and get a meeting set up. They seem comfortable at the bar. I don't think out at the the Parkway would be the best place to have this conversation.
Oh no, I've been meaning to check out your new establishment.
Yeah. Jester, you're doing a fantastic job, by the way. Should be getting a grill in soon. I'm working on it.
Okay,
Artie pipes
people will
up.
be happy.
Let me know if you need your food license. Still gotta dust off the old, illegal licensing abilities again.
Actually, I don't have a license of any type to be running this, so yeah, that'd be great.
Oh yeah, we gotta take care of that. That's not good at all.
I just open the stuff and run it. I don't do the whole legal
No.
aspect.
We'll
of
get
things.
your liquor license, your food license. We'll get that all squared away.
Yeah, I like this guy.
Well, Charles, who's been quiet this entire time, speaks up. In other news, as far as the new pack is concerned, did you have any marching orders for them currently?
Well, first off, stay away from Spud. He's busy. There is any information that we could get as far as leech plant monster. It's probably a good thing to get out of the way. If you think they're ready for that, that's kind of a big thing. The rest of it is kind of about speaking to the right people and doing the right research, which are not the greatest with others, as it seems.
I can point them towards some investigations that I have been looking into. Some street level things, but shouldn't be a problem. More bonding exercises, if nothing else.
Whatever you think they're capable of doing. I don't want to push them too far and have them get hurt.
They're perfectly capable of pushing themselves too far on their own.
But let's not add to that, I guess.
Charles, I will say that Juniper was helpful
Good.
when she came to visit in the cairn, so if she would like to assist in the duties here, I'd be more than happy to find work for her.
I'll make sure Stakes lets her know. Very good. I also went and checked out the location up in Old Seminole Heights and took Deadbeat for an investigation. He had come upon some intelligence from a resource that apparently high-quality builders leaves secrets buried within the foundations of their buildings. We went to investigate upon that intelligence, and we uncovered something. Something I didn't think was possible. When we broke the foundation of one of the homes, it was a suspicious foundation to begin with when I uncovered it. Because he had found the intelligence, I thought he was the best person to help me dig up the foundation. A reward of sorts for finding that intelligence. We found a coffin buried in the foundation. I expected to find a leech buried within. I found a guru. More specifically, a black spiral dancer. And on top of that, they had been turned into an abomination.
Oh, what?
They had been
That's
turned
so
into
bad.
a vampire.
Yeah.
That's possible?
Apparently so. Now
So
we destroyed it. Thankfully, it was still weak, but
There were rumors during the Blood War in Chicago of something playing both sides, something helping us out, helping them out. The rumors said it was half and half. But, you know, it was just shit that could never get confirmed.
So they still weak to sunlight?
here's the good news. I believe because of the condition of it and where it was kept, I believe it was an experiment gone wrong. I think that they found that they created something that they could not control, and so they buried it. That is why it was encased in concrete. It was locked in a coffin that was lined with silver. I think they were trying to rid themselves of one of their mistakes. So I do not believe this is a threat that we should have to contend with. That's my current analysis. Perhaps even this was an early experiment that led to what we are currently dealing with. Now, based off of what we know of the area, black spiral dancers were an issue once upon a time. Perhaps this is from that era. I believe the
Okay.
risk is minimal, and I believe that it has been dealt with, but I will keep eyes out for any other secrets that have been buried. I do want to commend Deadbeat for handling the situation well, though. I know that he has been a concern for everyone in this cairn and in leadership, but he did handle himself appropriately and was very helpful in the matter.
What's his source?
I'm unsure, but I am tracking it.
That's concerning to me.
That is why I'm tracking it.
Okay.
If you need help tracking that down, just let me know.
I may take you up on that. It is a street level source, it seems.
Definitely a concern, but I think the information gathering he deserves his praise regardless.
Indeed. He is a rat like you. And I mean that with respect, of course.
I knew what you meant.
Okay, so for now, we're gonna ignore, because it's hopefully most likely, I don't know, not a threat at the moment. We're gonna ignore the abomination situation and make sure that if they're seen again, we take care of them immediately. I guess we'll get more information as far as Fae go, see if wraiths are included in this situation, try to find the zombie plant vampire within the city, make smoke bombs out of cold iron, which we have to get cold iron first, fix Louise, and keep an eye on Jason. Did I miss anything?
Artie pipes up. Don't forget to breathe.
Yeah, kind of, yeah, okay. Oh, to that point, Artie, I need you to look into a certain family for me for one of the other pack members.
Okay, I can do that.
Thank you.
Eliza, kind of hearing about the abomination, had fallen quiet but speaks up. I know this news about an abomination has everyone worried, but I want to say, if they were made of Black Spiral Dancer's stock, it's because they had given themselves over to the worm that they were likely able to be turned. Gaia protects us from such things. That's why it's not common and unheard of. That's why it's a myth. Dancers, they're worm stock. They're already 3/4 of the way there. It's not unheard of to believe that they could have made it the last fourth. So don't fear yourselves being likely to be at risk of it. Just, it's concerning for sure, but I wouldn't worry about it. You're not at risk of becoming anything like that, as long as you stay true and on the right path.
Okay. Well, good.
I have one thing. A suggestion. So let's count this up. We got a new pack joining the Cairn. Artie's back. Welcome back, brother. We're in a shit situation. And we never formally did something nice for Aiden. So I think if you add all this up, one single word comes to mind. I think it's time to have a moot. I think that's what we all need.
Oh, also, to add to that list, Artie and I are engaged.
Okay, so there's 5 things. That's it. I don't even think we need to vote on that. We need to have a moot as soon as possible.
Jester and I were speaking of doing something for Aiden, and I wanted to be able to get Duncan and Terrence potentially down for it as well. So, a more official moot, if you don't mind waiting a little longer to get the ones down that need to come down.
That's fair, but like I think we're in a pretty nervous place, and I think it would do us all a lot of good. Jester, Galliard, Tail Singer.
We should go look at the apartment building. It had the bushes around it. They were protecting something.
What?
A moot's
You
fine.
mean
We should go
underneath
look at the apartment building. We didn't go inside. We probably should have gone inside and looked.
Well, maybe
Moot's
that's
fine.
something that Charles and Deadbeat can do as well.
I think I think Jester and I should go do it. If the bushes are against Guru, as was reported, I'm not taking any of the children near there.
Okay. Just thought for him finding one,
He was good at holding a coffin closed.
fair enough.
He likes to.
Go ahead.
I mean, he's a rune, so he's not bad at fighting, but he might be a little reckless. So
That's a fair point. So Jester and Charles can go take a look at the apartments. Jason, you can take Eliza to have a conversation with your person. And I don't know, Lucas, do you want to go thrift shopping?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sounds good. It's good to be back and to have a plan, Artie says. This is a lot more work than I've been doing over the last several months, and now I remember the headaches. Feels like home.
Welcome back.
The pack has a plan. They have a potential solution. And while the problems seem vast, a family that was fractured is once again whole. And this is where our session comes to a close. But not without a few final scenes. The first of which takes place in a very, very fancy hotel. The top floor, a presidential suite. A suite that we haven't visited in several months, belonging to one Matthias Morningkill. We start outside of the suite. But as we go in through the door, the suite is wrecked. Almost all of the furniture has been overturned. Lamps are broken. Glasses are wrecked. Curtains are torn down. Bed sheets are ripped off the bed. We see a hulking, massive Matthias stalking in a glabro form through the apartment, through the suite, with a wild-eyed look in his eyes, his hair a mess atop his head, his suit shirt ripped open, barefoot, his pant legs ripped. He stalks over towards the mirror, which is already cracked. And in some of the cracks of the mirror pane, he sees his own reflection. But in the other cracks, we see the lizard face of Hashigat, smiling with glee. We then transition to a laboratory at Piney Point, where we see, once again, seated at a desk, the hooded individual with their head down. They begin chanting in an unknown language. And as they lift the hood, beneath the hood, we see a vertical red eye open beneath the hood, shining with a red glow. And as we pan back, several of the plants nearby start to grow and twitch and lash outward. And then in our final scene, we see Jason, Dreams, and Decay Thorn laying in bed. We see his eyes open. We see him sit up in bed in the RV. It's the middle of the night. He walks outside of the RV and looks up at the moon. But in his mind, he is screaming as he has lost control of his body. This is where our session comes to a close. We're off next week, but we'll be back in 2 weeks with our next session of Rage Across Tampa. Thank you so much for joining us. If you like what you've seen here tonight, go follow St. Pete by Night on all of the social media listed down below and come join our community at the Discord link. You can be one of the 200 plus members that make up our amazing community, and we'd love to have you. Thank you so much for watching. Hellhounds is off for the next 2 weeks and Rage is off next week. So go catch up. If you haven't been, keeping up with all of it, go follow us and go watch all of the videos on the YouTube playlist over on our YouTube channel so that you can stay up to date on all of the amazing content we have, because this story is crazy and you're going to want to stay up to date with all of it. But for these amazing players, I'm Kent. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in just a couple of weeks. Thank you for joining us. Have a good night, everybody.